So hold that thought. I'm going to hit record. We should be recording what you're talking about now. You're getting a pool. You're getting a pool in Wisconsin or in Florida?
Not in Wisconsin.
Why
know
not?
What pools are called in Wisconsin? Ice rinks.
Yeah. Yep.
Exactly.
See, we're both on the same page there.
Well, that's because you like cold weather and I don't.
So and you said it was an in-ground pool, right?
Yes. So and in Florida, the thing seems to be to have something they call a lanai over the top of the pool.
Isn't that Hawaii?
It normally, yes. Apparently that's what they call them though. And it's nothing more than a massive screen over the whole pool. So it connects to the house.
I was going to say, I've seen those. I've spent a lot of time in Florida and I've seen those before. And I've always thought maybe I should get one of those if I ever get a pool, even here in Nashville. Not that I'm getting a pool anytime soon. Would love one. I just don't. Anyway, that's a whole other story. I've always wanted one of those screen things, but I have a screened-in porch right now that actually had a blowout. So during a storm, something came in and hit one of the screens and ripped it. And I haven't finished putting it all back in yet because I ran out of screen and I had to order more screen. But you have to take down the trim and then you got to nail it all up and put it all back in. As much work as I've put into this one patch of screen, I can't imagine doing the work on one of those whole things. I don't think I would.
You hire someone to do
I knew you were going there.
I know you knew it. I'm not going to disappoint you.
I'm too much of a perfectionist for that.
To hire someone?
Yes.
If you were really a perfectionist,
I'd hire somebody.
Really a perfectionist, you would.
See, now you're using my words against me, and that's not cool.
It's so easy.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm not going to debate that.
Well, no, because I'll use it against you.
Exactly. You should have been a lawyer.
Yeah.
Were you you were 3 years away, weren't you?
I was 3 years away. I was so close.
I know, right?
Stop it. Stop the IKR. What is IKR? I know, right?
Oh, really? People have been doing that to you?
Oh,
I hate it when I get those texts and I'm like, IDK, what? I know what that means now, but when I first saw that, I'm like, okay, I'm not that old.
You said, IDK, what this mean?
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. There are several things. So it's funny because work stuff just for a second. I was talking about this today, a couple of things that we test on dealerships' websites, like SEO, like GMB, like ADA. And so these are three of the things we look at. So SEO is search engine optimization. GMB is the Google My Business page that people have. The business directory, as Google calls it. And the ADA, which is Americans with Disabilities Act, something that you need to have on your website these days. And I'm writing this going, when did I start using so many acronyms like this? Because I hate that.
I don't know if I ever told you, but one of the things when I first started on with our company, one of the very first things they gave me right after I signed all my paperwork was a document on my computer that had definitions of all of the acronyms that we use. And it was
pretty smart.
3 pages long, double-sided. I mean, it was massive.
So stupid. And it draws me back to when I was doing work with Ford. They created the Ford acronym review team. And I've told you that before, but it was so funny because especially corporations and automotive seems to be the biggest offender, if you will, but they have so many acronyms. And if you're a new hire, I'm convinced it takes you 6 months before you know what half of them are.
Yeah, just half too. No, you're absolutely right. It's
there are some that will never know what they mean. There are people who've been here 25 years that have no idea what the heck that means.
Well, you've been on work calls with me, and I have a tough time recalling certain words anyways. The acronyms are just that much worse, especially if, maybe I'll get the acronym, but then someone will ask me, what does that mean? I don't know.
I
Just
have
means
no
this.
idea. How would
Just
I
don't
know?
do it. Yeah, how would I know? What am I, the professional here? Come on. Subject
Just
matter.
don't do
Wait,
it.
I'm the SME. I'm the SME.
I'm an SME, subject matter expert.
That's right. I almost
So
said it,
we should
but
do that with everything we do today on this particular podcast is
I can only do the ones
explain
that
what
I've
it stands
memorized.
for.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we could.
we could.
I see. Why am I? In case you
Cyan,
missed it.
yellow. Oh,
In case you missed it.
it sounded like you were doing CMKY. CYKM.
Oh
I
no,
don't even know.
CYKM.
Yeah,
That's
CYKM.
the
So, well, speaking of acronym, what do you think the 4XE stands for on the new Jeep Wrangler?
4XE. So it's all-wheel drive.
Well, yeah, it's 4x4, but it's 4 by E. So 4 by E, 4XE, 4 by E. Right.
So it's electric.
Yeah, 4 by electric.
But see, suddenly it turned to, oh gosh, it was from electric cars to now it's changed the terminology. It seems like these days to come on, I hate
Hybrid?
getting old.
Hybrid?
No,
Well, you need a drink. That's what you need.
That's probably true.
Why did
I
really I know we were calls until right up to the end of the day, but why didn't we think of that? We could have been totally. It's Friday after work, folks, and we're not drinking yet.
No. Yeah. But the electric car stuff now, it's called some version of electricity. They've changed it. And when they did that, I'm thinking, what?
Electrification?
Electrification. I think that's it. That's what they started calling it. And what happened to electric cars? No, it's electrification.
Well, it's the difference between used cars and pre-owned cars.
Well, yes, but in our business, we know that used is better because that's what people tend to search for.
Right. So when people,
if you
but what do you think? Do you think people are going, I want an electrified car, or do you think they want an electric car? They're probably searching electric car, EV. Yeah.
Yeah, electric vehicle. Yeah. And I'm going to start calling it electrolysis and see if everybody knows.
I don't think anyone will catch on. I doubt that statement will even catch on.
We're in the middle of an electrolysis. Wow. Yeah, I can't even say that. Electrolysis changeover.
It's going to be a fun day.
And I'd like all the hair removed from my legs.
Well, why wouldn't you? I mean, let's talk about the Jeep then, because that's what happens when you've got one leg hanging out the door, all four doors off. Yeah.
And the hair will rip off your leg.
Exactly. Okay, you're moving so fast.
4XE.
Yes.
Talk about the 4XE.
It's a 4 by E.
Is that a Wrangler? It's always a Wrangler?
It's a Wrangler. Yeah, it is. It is the Wrangler. And the biggest difference that you would know, besides the fact that there's a battery in it, it's a hybrid. So it's got both the battery and it's got the gas tank. And there is one port on the front driver's side up by where the mirror is, and that's where you plug in. That's really the only difference you would ever see, because other than that, it looks exactly like every other Jeep Wrangler that's out there, and you choose your color and blah blah blah. I think, don't quote me on this, but I think there are only 3 trim levels that it's available in. Sahara, I want to say high altitude, but I might be wrong about that one, and then of course the see, now it's rubbing off. It's rubbing off.
We're so stupid today. It must be Friday.
It is Friday. It's Rubicon. I knew it was started with an R.
Okay. I should have been able to get that.
And I was not looking at my screen whatsoever when I came up with that.
Sure
it just finally popped into my brain.
Right.
I wasn't looking at this beautiful blue
Jeep
Rubicon. On this particular Jeep website.
On Ruba.com.
Ruba.com. Okay. Yeah. Yes.
So, is it then like like the Chevy Volt was, where it's hybrid in that it's gas and
Yeah.
batteries. It's
So
similar to that configuration.
yeah, I knew this was coming out for a while, and it's actually been out for a little while. Obviously, limited numbers because of COVID and the chip shortage and blah 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 blah. Go on exactly.
Yep.
So it's been out a little bit, and I just started watching a gentleman, and I don't remember his name. Be perfectly honest, it's not a very entertaining vlogger on YouTube, but he just bought one and he's kind of putting it through its paces. So he's doing an
Okay.
episode here and there. You know, this is what I did here. Is I tried to run out of gas and it wouldn't let me. Blah blah blah. And I was just fascinated by it because there are so many factors to my decision in which car I'm going to buy next, and one of them is I still drive. I still drive a lot. He's getting 32 to 34 miles per gallon
Hmm.
with this Jeep, which to
Wow.
me, I mean, that's that sweet spot. Yes, but my car gets about 36 to 38, depending on how I drive. So,
Mhm.
32 to 34 is not a big difference as long as you can plug it in every once in a while. And I think he got 700 miles on one tank of gas.
Hmm.
Keep in mind, he was
Wow.
plugging it in every night. So,
Sure.
and he was driving about an hour a day, but yeah, and plugging in every night. So it's not, I think it's a perfectly fair observation because if you can plug it in, why not? But one tank of gas went about 700 miles. So I'm like, I could deal with that. That's a pretty good, and you still get to ride in a sweet Jeep. So
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's so. What's the alternative? Is there? Look at the. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the GMC Hummer.
okay, let's talk about it. What do you want to talk
So
about? That's
that's
all
not a
electric.
hybrid. It's
No, it's all
totally
electric.
electric.
Right.
It's $100,000, right?
Yep.
And ish. And
Ish.
uh, so it's all plug in. So
Yeah.
I mean, if you're worried about fuel prices or any charging for that matter,
Mm-hmm.
what it costs you to do that, I think you'd be in a lower price range vehicle, wouldn't you?
Well, you did. We were talking earlier, and you did make the point. If you have to ask with any high end vehicle, if you have to ask the price, it's probably not the vehicle for you. I
And
think.
if it's all about fuel economy too, I don't. It's not even asking the price. It's saying, well, what's the mileage on this thing? Well, you know what? If you spend 120,000, it gets great mileage. So
Yeah.
think of
Well.
the
Yeah.
money you'll save at the gas pump. Really? Think
Yeah.
of the
Well,
money you'll save at the gas pump.
you can look at it a couple of different ways too. I'm using the Jeep as the example.
Yep.
I wanted a Jeep, and the fact that it gets 12 to 15 miles per gallon, that didn't bother me. It's just that I drive so much. Like if it was my daily driver, I could care
Sure.
less.
Yep.
Could absolutely care less. It's
That's
really
a good
only
point.
my work lifestyle where 32 miles to the gallon excites me. I get all tingly.
It. Okay, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I had to
Creepy.
go there. I'm a creep.
Please don't.
I wasn't going to sing. I was going to start singing.
I wish you would.
No, no.
Singing is not what I was going to say. Please don't potty dust. That's what I was going to
Oh,
say.
oh. Too late.
I wasn't going to say that. Oh, good.
Yeah.
So what is the price range of the four?
The cheapest one that I could find, and I'm sure it's not the cheapest MSRP, but the cheapest one I could find was 54.
Okay.
Of course, the one that I want is not.
It's not 54.
It's not 54.
Is it 54 and a half?
You could say it's a little bit more than that, not terribly much more.
Okay. So you could make an argument for it, I guess, if you were paid, if you are reimbursed by mileage,
Mhm.
if someone were and
Right.
drove a lot of miles and were not going to lease it, but would rather pay for it or finance it. Yeah, you could make the argument that, look, I get more money back. It costs me less per mile. So they pay me a flat IRS, pennies per mile, and
Right.
off I go. So I guess I could see a benefit around that. If you've decided definitively on a Jeep,
I
for
haven't.
you,
I haven't. This is just making it more appealing and getting
Mhm.
closer to a decision because
well, it's a
I still-
feasibility for you
it's
suddenly
more of
because
a feasibility.
without, it's less feasible.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just they're just pricey, and
They
I
are,
like.
and that's
I'm a Jeep fan like you are.
I'm not at
Um,
all.
yeah, I know Jeep parking behind you. For those of you who are not watching on YouTube, he has a Jeep parking sign right behind his massive noggin.
Because that's the only
Uh,
vehicle that can get up the steps to get up here.
yes. Although I've seen some interesting YouTube videos lately of some vehicles that one was an articulating Jeep, though I
Uh-huh.
was a Wrangler with articulating suspension, not inexpensive,
Oh, I bet
but
not.
truly going up almost a vertical
Hmm.
climb. Absolutely incredible, which is amazing to me. But I do love Jeeps. I just think they're kind of pricey for what they are.
Yeah, but anything like that is. Trucks are the same way.
You're
It-
right,
you-
but it depends. They ride better though than a
oh,
short wheelbase Jeep.
oh, yeah, pretty much everything rides better. Even though I've been told that these are pretty darn smooth for
I've
a
told you
Jeep.
that
Yeah,
because the last one I rented was a Wrangler Unlimited, the 4-door,
yeah,
and because of that longer wheelbase than the 2-door, I was impressed. I really was. It was far from perfect, but I think it could be closer to perfect for me if I got a Gladiator, although I don't like the way the Gladiator looks because it's
right,
an extra 10 inches, 11
right.
inches on the
Yep,
wheelbase, I
yep,
think. So
yeah. You're
anyway,
about right.
but they're
Eh,
expensive.
They're very expensive. All of them are expensive, and of
Yes.
course, the one that's
Yep.
$54,500
Yep.
is going to ride a little bit rougher because instead of the Sahara, which is a very smooth riding, it's the
Sure.
Rubicon. I mean, if
With
you're going to go with a
off-road
Jeep,
stuff and
exactly. If you're going to go with a Jeep, why not go with a Rubicon? I
yeah, it's a
mean,
good point. Well, it's the money. I mean,
yeah,
you can look at it and say, well, it's not worth it to me, or that's not the direction I want to go. But yeah, but then again, I have a Harley Davidson sitting in my garage, which is also overpriced, but it's still there.
right. Yeah. Yeah. And you know what?
Oh,
So, how would you feel about this? So, I went down the rabbit hole. Obviously, we're talking about Jeeps.
yeah.
And I also watched an Australian gentleman who is a pilot. He
Okay.
flies an SR-22. So, which
What
is
is what is that?
that's a Cirrus. So
Okay.
it's the Cirrus.
Retractable gear?
Nope, it's not retractable gear.
Oh,
But he
okay.
was in. I want to say I think he went to Adelaide for this.
I've
Um,
been to Adelaide.
have you? I've not been
Mhm.
to Australia. I'd like to go.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Cool.
He got to fly, and I think they're over here in the States too. But he got to fly a little 2-seat trainer electric airplane.
Shut up.
It's fully electric. It can only fly for an hour,
Yeah.
and it's small, but it's fully electric.
How close are we? You know what? Just land.
Yeah,
Land the damn
now.
thing.
Land now. There's no regenerating when it comes to that.
No. Yeah. No, really. If you hit the brakes, it should. No. No,
Yeah.
it won't.
That's
See, that's the piece of it. I never fly for more than half an hour. Why? Because it's supposed to go an hour.
right. Yeah, and that's well, and so when you talk about the G, I'm gonna look it up here so I know.
I know. I can tell. All of our viewers can tell that you're multitasking again.
Yeah, exactly. So
And then he just doesn't even engage when I say
no,
something
I'm just
really
I'm ignoring you now.
provocative like that. That's okay. That would make it quite a
Seattle.
coincidence, though.
So there is actually that's a brand new airplane. So
Okay.
that was something that was started from the very beginning.
Tell me
They
again what it's
actually,
called so we can.
I don't know the name of it. I really
Oh,
don't.
I thought you said it was a Cirrus.
No, Cirrus is that's actually an airplane that's built in Minnesota. That's a prop
Oh,
plane.
well, that makes
That's
a difference.
yeah. What does it really? Actually, there's a story behind that.
Of course there is.
So that's not the airplane I'm looking for. The Cirrus is a gas powered airplane, but it's more modern. It's brand new. It's the one that has a parachute.
Oh, right. Yeah, got it.
Now I can't find it. So anyway. So there is a company in Seattle, and I believe it's also in Alaska that they refit otters. De Havilland
Okay.
Otter with an electric turbine.
Oh,
So
wow, really?
it's an electric float plane. And that one's really cool. But again, it's so heavy that they can't add enough batteries to keep it in the air longer than about an hour because it's so heavy. And then unlike the
Yeah.
Jeep, which was really neat about the gas Jeep, and maybe they could make a hybrid airplane, I don't know. But the gas
Mm.
Jeep, when you can set the mode so you can run on gas fully, and that charges your battery while you're doing it, just like the Volt did,
Sure.
or does.
Yeah.
And but the airplanes can't do that, obviously, because what are you going to do? You're going to let the prop rotate backwards?
Probably not.
Probably not a
Well,
good
no, but
plan.
you could, if it were a hybrid, I guess you could make an argument for that,
Yeah,
right?
you could, but I don't
So
even know that would take up a lot of room because that's some of the problems that
for sure.
hybrid vehicles have now is just the amount of room for both motors.
Right. Well, the motors are often at the wheels, but you couldn't really do that with a plane.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
So for $140,000, you can fly your own electric airplane. The Slovenian company Pipistrel sells the Alpha Electro, the
Yep,
first
that one.
electric aircraft certified as airworthy by the FAA.
Yep, that's the one that's in the States. That was it looks just like that. That wasn't the one they flew in Australia. That was an
Okay.
Australian-made airplane.
So this one, guess the weight of this.
Oh, I don't even want to try.
It's a two-seater,
I would
side by
say
side.
20
Assuming that's what.
2,500 pounds.
811 pounds.
Really?
I
And it
know.
can only stay in the air for an hour?
A 90 minutes, a 21 kilowatt hour battery pack. About 1/5 of the power you'd find in a Tesla Model S.
So here's the other interesting thing.
Yeah.
Excuse me. The other interesting thing about that is with the airplanes, most airplanes, the fuel is in the wing or in both
Yes,
wings,
correct.
right?
Yep. Mhm.
Well, they can't put the batteries in the wings because they're too heavy. So the batteries are under the fuselage
Interesting.
and helps with that center of gravity.
Well,
I
and
think
that's
if they could figure out how to put it in the wings, I think they'd be able to go a lot further.
but what it seems like you could, and it's all battery technology. We know that because let's face it, depending upon the aircraft, a wing full of fuel is not light either.
No, it's not, but it is a lot lighter than lead acid, or not lead acid, but
Well,
what's the word I'm looking for? Lithium
lithium
ion.
batteries.
Yeah. Wow, lead acid. Yeah, because that's what I want to
Yeah.
put in my airplane.
No, I know, not for me. Hey, you know what? Bob over there, if I have problems with my battery, he can jump me in the air.
That's right.
So that would
Exactly.
be fine.
Exactly. Well, they still use those in those airplanes to run the avionics. So I think they're running avionics.
Lead acid battery.
Yeah.
I've seen that on some of the older ones. I doubt
Yeah.
that they do it on the
No, they
newer
probably
ones.
because they have the newer battery pack or new battery cells that they
Sure.
can swap out, but they're expensive. Marine batteries are usually lead acid, and then a lot of people are converting to the lithium ion.
Yeah. So you and I were talking earlier. We have seen several. You've seen all of them. The episodes of Ice Pilots,
Yeah.
which, if you're not familiar with them, they use World War II aircraft, and that's what they used for some commercial flights, but primarily cargo flights.
Yeah.
And it's just an interesting thing because they have the Electra, which is the new one,
Right.
the new
But
planes that they have.
that's not a World War II aircraft.
That's correct. Good point. It's not, but the reason they have them, it is 50 years old.
Yes, it is.
Most of the World War II are 70-ish, right?
Yep.
So the Electras are 50 or 60. But the difference is, as we talked today, is that will fly on jet fuel.
Yeah.
And that's way more accessible or available
It
than
is than
the
Avgas.
avionics, fuel that they need for the other ones. Anyway,
so, but just, and we didn't talk about this earlier, but just one point to that is that's what they show on the television show is the old World War II. They have a lot more in their fleet and a lot more up. Oh yeah. They fly Barons. You obviously haven't gotten to the firefighting part of it.
Yes,
yet.
I love the firefighting ones. And that's actually what I was going to talk about, because the way they and they delivered some to Turkey. Remember that?
Yep.
So they owned them, and they were that was.
Have
a
you gotten to the
circus
episode yet when they were training?
for.
They put it down on the belly.
Oh yes, oh yeah, I
Oh,
saw
you
that
just
one.
saw that one?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's
So
beautiful.
what happened is the pilot
Yep.
flying who was training,
Yeah.
nothing wrong with the airplane, forgot to put the gear down and
Yeah,
landed
he was
on the belly.
training.
Yeah, he
Yes.
was training
But
and it put it
but
down
it
on the
was a Turkish pilot.
Turkish pilot
And
who had
yeah.
several hundred,
Oh,
if not thousands of hours in an airplane.
correct. But just to get the gist of these planes, it has the high mounted wing engines because to fight fires, it has really a cool thing. If you saw how they constructed it, it's a belly reservoir
Yeah.
tank that you skim along a lake and it fills the thing up. And then when it's full, you get a notification or somehow it tells you, and then you take off and then drop it like Bombay doors over the fire.
Yeah. And keep in mind, this is not a float plane either.
Oh, no. No. That's
so
exactly
when
right.
John's
there are no
saying
skis.
there's no skis. You're putting
No.
the belly of the airplane in the water and there's no recovering if you crash.
And that's how it fills itself. Well, you know what? But if you crash, at least the fire should go out.
Good point, my friend. Good point.
Sick. We are sick.
We really are.
But it was kind of cool
way.
to watch them do that. How they would just skim along the water. And I don't remember what the number is, but 800 gallons no,
it's a lot.
It was thousands of gallons, as I recall, that would just load into this plane from the lake and they'd take it to the fire site. Anyway, it was beautiful. The reason I brought it up is because you think about all that weight on the belly of the plane, and it couldn't be. I mean, that's got to be way heavier than some of the batteries. And
but again, it's not in the wings. That's in the belly of the airplane. That's
for sure. That was to your point that center of gravity makes it much more stable than if you did not, because you need to have equal distribution of fuel in the wings. Right. Can you see what I'm doing? I look like I'm doing
look like
Crane from Karate Kid.
It's the funky chicken. We all know that's your favorite dance.
Ki. It's not my favorite. It's one of them. It's the Macarena.
See, I'm not going to stop him right now, guys. I'm sorry. He's just got to keep going.
No, I have to stop because I don't remember the rest of it.
Okay.
Yeah, there was tequila involved. I know that much.
And there isn't right now. We are really failing at this.
Well, we're elderly.
We are. We can't remember our acronyms.
No, remember tequila, though.
Tequila!
What's that stuff that you drink that makes you feel like you're a Latino? I don't know.
Wow.
Well, it's possible. I love going to Mexico, and they have some of the finest tequila there.
They have. That's another rabbit hole that I have been going down. I want to say Jen and I have been going down, but I'm sure she doesn't want to watch them. But there have been some bartending videos on YouTube lately. Really? Talking about how to make classic drinks or how to spruce up classic drinks. I don't have any specific, but there was one that we were watching. It was Epicurious, and they have, what do they call it? The 4 levels of drinks or 4 levels of experience. So they have a beginner, which is level 1.
Okay.
A level 2 chef, and a level 3 chef. And then the 4th level is actually a food scientist talking about why things happen the way they do within all of them. And one of the episodes of this one in particular was Bloody Mary making.
Oh,
first guy, he had tomato juice, and instead of making a Bloody Mary, he made a Bloody Maria, which is tequila instead of vodka.
Okay.
And he was not very good at it. And in fact, he didn't like it at all. But of course, he kept drinking. Jen made that point. She's like, he didn't like it, but he's still drinking it. He's like, well, with as much tequila as he put in there, I don't blame him. The second person, the level 2, just made a standard old, a really good looking Bloody Mary with some Tito's vodka and V8 juice instead of regular tomato juice, because she didn't like tomato juice. And then, of course, they brought in the bartender who made the professional drink, where he actually took tomatoes from Italy that were canned and smushed them and made the sauce, and then made, instead of using Worcestershire sauce, Worcestershire sauce.
You sure you haven't
He
been
actually,
drinking?
no. Um, then he took like anchovy paste, and he took lemons and
Oh, wow.
limes and cucumbers and peppers, and mixed it all up. And then he just, it was 1/2 ounce of the tomato juice and 1/2 ounce of this, whatever he called it. He didn't call it Worcestershire, but he renamed it something with a "sure" at the end to make it the same thing.
Okay.
And then,
Wow.
he infused the vodka with rosemary and red peppercorns, and did it in a sous vide. And
Yeah.
so, because he didn't have 3 days, 3 to 10 days, he could do it in 3 hours. And then he took that,
Wow.
and then he put that in there, and then of course put it in oh well. And then you got the ice, which he chipped his own block of ice because he refuses to use ice out of an ice machine. And he squared those off, and made them really pretty, and made them look like an iceberg coming out of the glass. And then he roasted some rosemary on the top using a blowtorch. Yeah, I'm like, this is a
At
little
some point,
ridiculous.
don't you say, "Where's my damn drink?"
Yes, yes. I saw him in another episode of something, and he was doing
Yeah.
that to every drink, and I'm like,
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
just stop. Just make me a
Stop it.
fucking drink.
Yeah.
Sorry, mom.
Sorry, mom. Well, it's true though. That's the part where it gets a little ridiculous. If you can make it an awesome drink like that expeditiously, I'm
Mhm.
fine. Hey, infusing vodka with especially rosemary, that sounds wonderful for a
Oh,
Bloody
yeah.
Mary.
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
I can see that, but it's not something you have to do while there's a customer,
Right.
waiting over there
Right.
and going, or a friend from down the street.
Well,
I'd like a Bloody Mary. Well, have a seat because this is going to take a while.
at his bar, I'm sure he infuses it well ahead of time. He was
Yes,
just doing
but
that for the show,
still
but
doing
still,
all
that's
the
so putsy.
yeah,
So putsy.
well said. Very
And
fussy.
the best part of it, and that's why I rewound the whole thing and made Jen watch it. And
Yeah.
I said, you can never call me putsy again, because I am putsy in the kitchen. That guy puts me to shame.
Really putsy.
That's really putsy.
We've all seen the Bloody Marys, I mean, they have some with a half a chicken or a Cornish
Yeah.
game
Yep.
hen in it, and
Yep.
of course Wisconsin, there's always cheese and sausage and
Yep. Bacon
yeah, Landjaeger, which is a dried meat or something like that. I used to make them quite simply, actually. In V8, I always liked V8 too, but
Mhm.
regular tomato juice or Clamato was one of
Oh,
the
yeah. Well,
things
see, I
that we would
reserve
use
my
sometimes.
Clamato for beer.
And that would be delicious with beer. And we would often do with a Bloody Mary, though, they call it a
chaser.
snit, which is
Yeah.
the chaser, a little
Yeah.
tiny 5-ounce to 6-ounce thing of
For
beer.
those of you, I think it's called a snit in Wisconsin. Everywhere else, it's a
Yep.
chase. Actually, I don't even think, I'm
Well,
not
no, it's a
100%,
chaser, but it's a snit
but
in Wisconsin, wherever that
in
came from.
Wisconsin and Minnesota, that's the only place I have ever been served a
A beer.
chaser
Yeah.
with a Bloody Mary. Nowhere else do I get that. And I like
think
that.
I've seen people that get it. It's kind of a neat thing that goes with it. But again, if you've got the Bloody Mary with, a meal for 4 people in
You
it,
need
then
something to wash it down.
you do need something. I used to just make it with horseradish
Oh, yeah.
and raw horseradish, which I love.
That's the other thing. All 3 of them, well, no, 2 of the 3 used actual raw horseradish, and horseradish, and they ground it. And of course,
Oh,
he
okay.
ground a whole bunch.
I use it out of the jar.
Yeah, exactly.
But still, it was those were good though, and it's serviceable. You can do it.
Yep.
And it doesn't take you a half an hour to make. No, I'll be right there. Shut up. Do I look like a camel?
I'm roasting the chicken. Come on. It'll be a few hours. You'll get your Bloody Mary when you get it, damn it.
Then I have to do the rosemary next.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I'm going to leave us with one thought because it's time to get going here.
Yeah.
One drink that he did make that I thought was interesting, and I don't
This
have
is
any.
the same guy?
The same guy, different show.
Okay.
But he made, no, actually, I'm sorry. This was an Australian dude that made some interesting drinks, and he made a martini, just a standard traditional gin martini.
Mhm.
Put the vermouth in, put the gin in,
Mhm.
then put a dash of orange bitters.
Interesting.
My question to you is: have you ever had a martini with orange bitters?
I have not.
I haven't either.
I've had a 1,000 old fashions
Yeah.
with orange bitters.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
and Manhattans and old fashions, they all have bitters in them, not necessarily orange bitters, but bitters.
yeah.
Now, a good old fashioned will have, I can never say this, Anagostia.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Anagostia bitters, or I'm not sure
Yeah.
how to say
And
it either.
then orange bitters and then sugar and then,
Yeah,
but on and on and on. But yeah, so I'd never tried. Oh, sorry, I hit the microphone, folks. I had
all
an
right.
itch. I had to scratch my itch.
Wow.
And if you'd like to scratch our itch,
Icky.
I'm sorry. Head up to PoddiMouths.com.
Do that, please. Yes.
Check out our merch store. We'd like to get that going. Check out, I forgot to say, Bill bought us a coffee after the last
Thank
episode.
you, Bill. That was
Thank you
very
so
nice.
much. It was a very good coffee. Starbucks. Sorry, it wasn't anything
very,
fancier
very
than
nice.
Starbucks, but it was Starbucks. And anyone else that wants, oh, you've got a nice back scratcher.
Back scratcher. You
Nice.
can. These are great. We should sell these.
We
in our
should.
merch store.
We should. Maybe
Can
that
use it
will
as a
appear.
toothbrush.
I like how sparkly it is.
I know. I don't know where I got it, but it is sparkly. I'll tell you that much.
I'm sure we
And
can
it
thank
does
Lisa
not-
for that.
It's not from me. I did not. Yeah, I would buy one like that.
Yeah,
It's very
you would.
pretty.
Don't lie. Don't lie. Anyway, folks, head up to the website. Check us out. Go to YouTube. Check out all of our videos. And
Please.
we haven't talked about our Facebook videos yet.
No.
Where we're going to place those. Stay tuned for something that is in beta right now.
Yeah. You're going to be amazed when you go to our YouTube videos or Facebook videos that are in beta.
Yeah.
And see, we're not dashingly handsome like
not at all, but we wear our own merch.
We do. I wore one last time. It's your turn.
Yep.
Well done.
Thank you.
And then you wore a vehicle nanny.
On the last episode. Well, that's probably what got me the coffee.
Oh, no question. Thank you. He got me coffee too, and I was wearing a PoddiMouths.
Yeah. Well, he's a fan of the show. Who isn't?
He's a good man. Who isn't? Well, no one who's listening.
That's right.
All of our listeners and watchers are apparently fans, or they were just hoodwinked.
Well, and speaking of
accidentally,
exactly. And speaking of hoodwink, we'd love for you to hoodwink your friends into listening to our podcast. So
do it,
if
or your enemies,
if you've got at least one friend you think might enjoy our unique type of banter, send us a link. Send them the link. No, don't send us the link. We already have the link. Send them the link. It's Friday. I'm going to go down and have a drink.
You need to.
I really do.
You are on a roll today.
Yeah, I'm about to be rolling down the stairs. So on that note, folks, have a fantastic week. We'll talk to you again soon.
See ya.